ब्रज जन रंजन यश जमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरवनचारी जमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गिरिधर श्री राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जगन्नाथ जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय 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 प्रभुपाद जय शिल प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव जय शिल गुरुदेव नमो विष्णुपाद परिवाराचार्य अष्टोत्तर नित्य लीला प्रवेशित भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य हिज होली डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्री व्यास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all worship Guru and Gaurang, all worship Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, once again, welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. And we are, before starting Bhagavatam chapter, we going to read from Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrita. And the chapter is The Land is Yours. Is this the, no, this is not the one. Yeah. So the land is yours. This is in reference to when Tamal Krishna Maharaj brought the big good news for Prabhupada that the Mayapur land is ours. And that's where we are reading from. So these boys and girls or ladies and gentlemen who have joined me, they have given up their designations. They are no longer Americans or Canadians or Australians. They are thinking of themselves as eternal servants of Lord Krishna. Without this, there is no question of liberation from the material contamination. As long as there is material contamination, you have to devise these social order and spiritual orders according to Shastra as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grhastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. These are all material designations. But this Krishna conscious movement is for becoming transcendental to these material designations. And these boys, these foreigners, they are being taught in the light, in that light. When I started my propaganda in New York, 26th Second Avenue, that time only half a dozen boys were coming and hearing. That hearing means I was singing, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and reading some verses from Bhagavad Gita. And they were patiently hearing. Because I know if someone patiently hears the holy name of Krishna or about his pastimes, then Shranvatam Swakatha Krishna. Krishna purifies him from within. So that's a very good indication we have. Just by listening, we get purified. And not hearing anything else but the Bhagavatam words, the words of Krishna or pure devotees that can purify our heart. So now Prabhupada continues. So actually it is so happened with these boys and girls. I say boys and girls because in Western countries there is no distinction. They are given equal liberty. In our country, there is still discrimination. I mean to say, grown-up boys and girls are not allowed to mix together, although it is going on now. But in European countries, there is no such restriction. So there was no possibility of making any distinction between the boys and the girls. So many of them are attending. I was chanting in Tompkins Square Park, and these boys and girls used to surround me and dance and chant Hare Krishna mantra. Some of them became a little advanced and purified and came forward. Swamiji, please accept me as your disciple. So my condition was that anyone who wants to become my disciple must be free from four kinds of sinful activities: illicit connection with women, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. In this way, on this condition, these boys and girls were accepted as my disciples according to Pancharatrika Vidhi. And when they are fairly advanced, they are given the sacred thread, Upayanam Sanskar. Following the path and instruction of my Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. According to Shastra, they should not be considered as coming from families of Malicha and Yavnas. They should not be considered like that because they are now purified. That is also mentioned by Sukdev Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam, and you know of it. Kirat Kirat Hun Andhara Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Subha Yavana Kash Adhya Ye Anye Cha Pap Yad Apsharayas Arsharaya Shrudhyanti Tasmai Prabhavisane Namaha. How to become purified? By taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. So they all are purified according to Pancharatrika Vidhi, and many of them got this sacred thread. Prabhupada continued, explaining the holy name's power to elevate anyone regardless of birth, and he cited Haridas Thakur, who, despite his Mohammedan birth, was accepted as the Acharya of chanting the holy name. Prabhupada also discussed the dynamics of the Krishna conscious movement, telling how, according to Rupa Goswami's principle of Yuk Vairagya, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness was using material things in the service of Krishna. In the Western countries, they are very luxuriously situated. My disciples are giving me residential quarters even a governor could not imagine. I remember one night some time back, I was a guest in a Lucknow government house. At that time, the governor was Vishwanath Das, and he was personally known to me. So I remember the kind of luxurious apartment where I had the opportunity to lie down one night. But they, my disciples, are giving me all this. So we cannot reject that because that is the standard of living in America. You can't say, no, I shall not lie down in this nice apartment. I shall lie down in the street. I am a sannyasi. Then nobody will respect me. There in America, the standard of living is like that. Therefore, Rupa Goswami, that you should not be attached to that, but for the service of Krishna, if you have to use such thing, you should receive it. People are engaged in the service of Maya, but we want to engage everything in the service of the Lord. That is Krishna consciousness movement. So we are using airplanes, we are using dictaphone, we are using teletype machine. Even for cleansing our floor, we are using a machine. This is the system. In each and every center, we have got new cars. We can't do without them. In Europe and America, practically no gentleman walks in the street. It is the system there. So we have to use it, but we should not be attached to it. Our attachment should be only for Krishna, and for Krishna's service, we can accept anything. That is the Krishna conscious movement. Hare Krishna. And you'll be surprised that today's verse is on this line as well. Prabhupada is sometimes, it does wonder. So we'll start the Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयेरुदीर्यते नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्ति भवते नैष्टिकी. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavat Canto 5, Creative Impetus, chapter number 18, title The Resident of Jambudip Offers Prayers, and verse number 18. The verse is actually not a proper meter, it is a pro. So I'll just, being a prayer, I'll just read once and then we'll continue from there on. Om Haram Hirim Hurum Om Namo Bhagavate Rishikeshaya Sarvaguna Visheshaya Vilakasti Atmane Akutinam Chittanam Cheksham Visheshanam Shatpataye Shodas Kalya Chantmayana Maya Amrita Maya Ya Sarva Maya Ya Sahase Ojase Balaya Kantaya Kamaya Namaste Tubhyam Bhuya. Yeah, we can do word to word, so at least we'll get some benefit of reading the Sanskrit, being a prayer. So we do word to word translation. You can repeat after me. Om O Lord, Haram Hirim Huram, the seed of the mantra chanted for a successful result. Om, O Lord, Namaha, respectful obeisances. Bhagavate, unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rishikeshaya, unto Rishikesh, the Lord of the senses. Sarvaguna, with all transcendental qualities. Vishesha, with all varieties. Vilaksit, particularly observed. Atmane, unto the soul of all living entities. Akutinam, of all kinds of activity. Chitinam, of all kinds of knowledge. Cheksham, of the functions of the mind, such as determination and mental effort. Visheshana, of their respective objects. Cha, and Adhipate, unto the master. Shodash Kalaya, whose part are the 16 original ingredients of creation, namely the 5 object of senses and the 11 senses, including the mind. Chand Mayaya, unto the enjoyer of all ritualistic ceremonies. Annamayaya, who maintains all living entities by supplying the necessities of life. Amrit Mayaya, who awards eternal life. Sarvamayaya, who is all pervading. Sahase, the powerful. Ojase, who supplies strength to the senses. Balaya, who supplies strength to the body. Kantaya, the supreme husband or master of all living entities. Kamaya, who supplies all necessities for the devotees. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Te, unto you. Ubhayatra, always, during both day and night, or both in this life and the next. Bhuyat, may there be all good fortune. Isn't it very mouthful of the prayer to remember? Now, translation and purport by His Holy Divine Grace Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Rishikesha, the controller of all my senses and the origin of everything. As the Supreme Master of all bodily, mental, and intellectual activities, He is the only enjoyer of their results. The 5 sense objects and 11 senses, including the mind, are His partial manifestations. He supplies all the necessities of life, which are His energy, and thus non-different from Him. And He is the cause of everyone's bodily and mental prose, which is also non-different from Him. Indeed, He is the husband and provider of necessities for all living entities. The purpose of all the Vedas is to worship Him. Therefore, let us all offer Him our respectful obeisances. May He always be favorable toward us in this life and the next. So we are not going to leave Him and to carry Him for the next life too. Now, purport. In this verse, the word Maya is further explained in regard to how the Lord expands His mercy in different ways. Parashya Sakriti Vividya Suryate. The energies of the Supreme Lord are understood in different ways. In this verse, he is described as the original source of everything, even our body, senses, mind, activities, prose, bodily strength, mental strength, and determination for securing the necessities of life. Indeed, the Lord's energy can be perceived in everything. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Raso Aham Apasya Kaunteya, the taste of water is also Krishna. Krishna is the active principle of everything we need for our maintenance. This verse, offering respectful obeisance unto the Lord, was composed by Rama, the goddess of fortune, and is full of spiritual power. Under the guidance of a spiritual master, everyone should chant this mantra and thus become a complete and perfect devotee of the Lord. One may chant this mantra for complete liberation from material bondage, and after liberation, one may continue to chant it while worshipping the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha Loka. All mantras, of course, are meant for this life and the next life, as Krishna himself confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:14. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatanascha dridvrita namastasya cha mam bhaktaya nitya yukta upasyate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, going down before me, the great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. A devotee who, both in this life and the next, chant the Maha Mantra or any mantra is called Nitya Yukta Upasak. Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुर्वे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टां स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथन्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैत्यं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नारायण नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी नौवाणी विचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकालिनी वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भवेच्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. So, the title of this chapter is The Resident of Jambudip Offer Prayers. Prayer, as we know, is one of the 9 steps of devotional process. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padsevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Sakhyam, Atmivetnam. So, and what's the prayer? It helps. Why do we want to pray? Prayer, for some people, they don't like to pray because for them it appears like a begging because they are the egoistic people. They consider themselves to be the center of the activities, so they are hard to pray for Krishna when they come in front of Krishna or the Lord. But what prayer does to us, it helps to dissolve our ego. What's that ego? That I am the center and I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, to the thing that Krishna being is the only enjoyer and controller. And what else it does? Prayer also align our consciousness, which at the moment is like, I am independent. I can do anything I want. To the one, I am dependent on Krishna. Krishna, you are so merciful. Without you, I am nothing. So that's what it is. And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not that Krishna needs the prayer because he's Atma Ram. He is fully satisfied in himself. It's for our own purification we offer prayer. And Krishna loves to hear his devotees' words. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam is full with the prayer from exalted devotees. We have already read the Kunti's prayer, Bhishma prayer, Dhruv prayer, and so on. And we'll be reading more as we continue in this Srimad Bhagavatam reading. And so now in this chapter, Sukdev Goswami is shifting the movement that not only we living entities on the earth offering prayer to Lord, but there are exalted devotees also live somewhere else in other region in higher realms. So this chapter is devoted to that, and that is in the resident of Jambu Dweep. So let's get a recap on Jambu Dweep. Now, Jambu Dweep is actually a central island, one of the central island. There are 7 central islands in the Bhumandal planetary system. And this Bhumandal planetary system is the middle planetary system of the 14 planetary system created by Brahma. 14 in the sense, 7 planetary system above the Bhumandal are called the heavenly planet, and below they are called the hell planet. And this is the Bhumandal in the center. And Earth is a part of the Jambudvip. And Jambudvip is the central region. And it has other region, like we have read 8 region, like we have read previously in previous chapter, Ilavat Varsha, where Lord Shiva is worshipping Sankarshan. And then we read the Hari Varsha, where Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayer to Lord Nrsinga Dev. So and now we are reading in Kamatelu, where Lord Lakshmi is worshipping Lord Pradyuman and in the form of Kamdev. So Kamdev is the material expansion of Pradyuman, Lord Pradyuman. And who is Lord Pradyuman? Lord Pradyuman is the second quadruple expansion of Lord Vishnu. So you remember in Canto 1, Krishna expand himself into Balram, and Balram then expand into first 4 quadruples. What are those? Pradyuman, okay, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyuman, and Anirudh. These are the eternal expansion of the Lord for the maintenance of the Vaikuntha Loka. Now the Sankarshan from this first quadruple further expands into 4 quadruples, second quadruple expansion. Again the same, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyuman and Anirudh. And that is the Pradyuman, that is which is mentioned here, the second quadruple Pradyuman, which is responsible for this material world. So you must be wishing to how is Lakshmi Devi. So Lakshmi Devi is also the material expansion of the Lakshmi Devi in the Vaikuntha. So because they are in material and the eternal spiritual can't mix together. So Krishna has to come in the form of material world to operate in this material world. So that is one of the thing here. So that's why Lakshmi we know is an eternal concept of Narayan, and it's he never separated from the Lord and always engaged in his service. So and it's an so the Lakshmi that we are talking here is an expansion and reflection of Lakshmi Devi in Vaikuntha. She is the presiding deity of fortune and beauty in the material universe, still completely chaste to Vishnu, never independent or contaminated, and sometimes is also referred to Bhu Lakshmi. Now here Bhu Lakshmi. So this is the so we can see from this picture that Krishna, this universe is not just random creation. There are 14 planetary systems systematically defined, and the people can go from how they travel into this different region based on the karma. If your activities are pious, you will be promoted to heavenly planet. But if your activities are sinful, you'll be going down to the down sinful planet, the Patal Lok, the Nerd Lok, that kind of region you will go. And Bhumandal is the place where you have to do the karmic reactions, means the karmic activities, and you can also nullify your karmas in Bhumandal easily. But as we learned in the last shloka, that in Ketumala, the karmas get destroyed after every year. Means every new year they get new set of things. Oh, they forget whatever bad thing they have done. Isn't it? This is very nice. If we have this privilege on earth, if our every karma destroyed every new year, what will be the life here? It will be a different, like another Ketumala. So this is now Lakshmi is here glorifying Lord Pradyuman as Rishikesha. He's saying as Rishikesha. Rishikesha means the control of all the senses and mind and intellectual activity and the origin of everything. This is a very unique statement. How? Because it is the root of the illusion. And what is illusion? Is to see things separate from Krishna. And that's why and that's the cause of suffering. So here Lakshmi is connecting the dot that everything is Krishna's energy and it is our duty to make that connection. All paraphernalia we see around must connect to the back to Krishna. So that's the prayer. That's why she's offering and glorifying Lord in so many ways. So often our false ego, we try to enjoy separate from Krishna, isn't it? Because of the false ego. As we know from Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 338, that the soul has three kinds of covering. धूमन्येन्द्रिवते वह्निर् यथादर्शो मलिन च यथो ban avrato garbhas tatha tanidam avritam. So what kind of three covering that we have of consciousness or the soul? First is like a covering, a smoke is covered by, fire is covered by the smoke. Okay, first covering. Second covering is the mirror covered by the dust. Third type of covering is a fetus is covered by the womb. There are three different covering. So which one do you think is hard to remove? I think the one with the fetus with the womb is very hard because fetus doesn't know what's happening outside and outside people doesn't know what's happening to the fetus inside the womb, how it's developing. So that's very hard to remove. With the smoke one, even a small push of air can remove the smoke from the fire. What does it mean? You must have seen some people when you go on Harinam, they immediately take up to the Harinam. These are those people that they are ready to take up Krishna consciousness by the whiff of air, by the whiff of Maha mantras. They are ready to take the Krishna consciousness. Their consciousness is just covered with smoke, waiting for that opportunity of hearing the Maha mantra, and here they go. Second kind of people, where the mirror is covered with the dust. Here you need some kind of effort to remove the dust. It doesn't go off it easily. And what kind of effort? Like you are leading a regulated life, following the principles, chanting the rounds, these kind of activities, doing devotional service. These kind of activity helps to remove the dust from the heart. And these are the second kind of people, those who come. And mostly we belong to that kind of category. We are removing our devotees, the aspiring devotees are really removing those kind of dust from the heart so that they can easily perceive Krishna, easily can perceive Krishna all around as Lakshmi is describing in this verse. With this process, we can do that. And the third kind, there is like they might need lifetime to remove that covering because all the or by the mercy of a pure devotee like Prabhupada, these can be easily removed. So these covering are of the so these covering what they're trying to induce us to try to enjoy the bodily, mental, and intellectual activities rather than understanding Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. And but false ego, what's a false ego do? Make us believe it. So covering trying to induce us and false ego makes us believe that yes, I should enjoy the body and bodily activity. And that's what's separating us from Krishna. When we start enjoying on ourselves, and that's what separates us from Krishna. And that's the whole materialistic society, isn't it? Which doesn't make us to join the dots that Krishna is the supreme. Its body is this body is a temple and is a vehicle for Krishna's service, not for the sense gratification to the most. So the materialistic society stop us doing that thing. So how can we have any good come from this kind of life? The why the materialist society is like this, the society, because we all live on mental platform because it's always I like this, I don't like this. It is the mind activity, and mind activity is that causes us these grievances that I am the activity, I'm the center. It doesn't let you understand who you are actually, not this body, you are the soul. It doesn't let you understand ego, the mind activity, that if you keep thinking I. So, but the mind has it used properly as it's nothing but the energy of the Lord. If we have that understanding, then it will start shifting. And how this understanding will come? With the devotional service, as we will learn later in this talk. Similarly, the philosophers, proud of their intellect and in the pride, they forget to connect the dots. What's that? That actually the intelligence they have is the energy of the Lord and it should be used for energy, used for the service of Krishna. And what is that service? Is that service the intelligence to be used for understanding the philosophy as spoken by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So that's a proper use of your intellectual. If you can understand the Bhagavad Gita and try to distribute to other people, that's a proper use of your intellectual. Similarly, the senses are also the Lord's energy. So in case of pure devotee, they can realize all this and they can connect back to Krishna and don't use these activities other than as a service to Krishna. So this is the aim, the pure devotee. They are already done that thing. They are already connected the dots. As we read from this verse as well, Lakshmi has already connected. She's an exalted devotee anyway, and she's the eternal consort of Krishna, and she's setting up an example for us. So for conditioned soul. So that's why we can also connect the dots to devotional service. So because of the covering of the soul, as the covering of the soul dissolves with this devotional service, we can see the clear picture, the heart happens, the cleansing of the heart happens, and then we will be able to connect to these dots. But if we let our mind run on its own way, what will happen? It is very dangerous and you will never be Krishna consciousness. So only way to fix the mind, as Prabhupada has said often, just fix onto the lotus feet of Lord, source of everything. And what that requires? That requires remembering the Lord. And that happens when the remembering happens, when you hear about the Lord. So that is the proper engagement of mind. That mind is the energy of the Lord, we know it. So instead of saying that I am, we need to use it, this energy in the service of the God. And how do we do that? By remembering the God. So the rule number is always remember the God and never forgets the God. And you can add to it the rule number 2. If you forget God, check the rule number 1. So it's kind of a vicious circle. So you will never forget. Always remember the Lord. If you don't remember, then it will simply cause suffering and anxiety. That is a fact. Either you learn by observing other people or just experience yourself and come to Krishna consciousness. Choice is yours, which way you want to go. So now we need to spiritualize these activities. What these activities? The activity of the body, mind, and intellect, so that we can realize that it's all Lord's energy and to be engaged in his service. So when we engage this way, it helps us to revive our love for Krishna, as we exemplify by this prayer in this section. This is how the love is developed in this. Also in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, Opulence of the Supreme, Krishna talks about it, how to make this connection, to see God as the source of creation and also see God within creation. That is very important. We can see this is God creation, very easy to see. But to observe God within the creation is bit of hard. Like if you see a good picture, a lot of Himalayas, as you say, I am the Himalayas. Of all the mountains, I am the Himalayas. Of all the months, I am the Magh month. Of all the letters, I am the letter A. So to realize that within a creation he is will take bit of time, bit of purification. And similarly, as he said in the example, Prabhupada said that I'm in the taste of water. He said himself, the Krishna is the taste of water. Just this is a simple act, but how often do we think of Krishna when we are drinking water? Getting the taste of Krishna. When we taste the, oh, water is, oh, it quenches my thirst, but we never thank Krishna. We say, yeah, sometimes we do when we are literally, but not usually. So this simple act is also an act of devotion. If we simply think when we are drinking, thanks Krishna for such a loving taste in the water. And the air we breathe, that is such common thing because it's all happen involuntarily. We never think how they are coming. So this is how we need to look God within the creation. That is the hard part to think. And this way we can perceive Krishna presence in this world. Even a speck of dust is Krishna's energy. It's his creation. If we go to that level, that is how pure your consciousness will be at that time. It's unimaginable. So when we do this, then our tendency to be separate from Krishna weakens. And we start realizing being his part and parcel. Theory we know, but just to realize it, to accept it, we need to do some activity. We need to do some thinking there. So then how it will happen. And that is what Krishna is looking. So our vision currently is blinded with the illusion. So we need a glasses. What kind of glasses do we need? We need the Shastra's glasses. We need the glasses of association of devotees, those who can correct us. So we can perceive whatever we see is the energy of the Lord. And this will prevent from the mindset of lording this material nature, and we will be liberated. What does liberation means? Liberation means finishing the cycle of birth and death, moksha, finishing cycle of birth and death. And what does it mean? It means we will go back to Godhead. our goal. That's what we are praying, everyone here. And being a devotee, that's our main hope, main aim, to remove this cycle of birth and death. And how do we do? Simply by engaging ourselves with the devotional activities. Of course, that's the one step coming. And the other thing is realizing that this creation is Lord's creation, and everything in this creation is Lord Himself. God is within the creation. This is the realization we need. We are part and parcel of Krishna. This is realization. It's easy to say that, oh, I'm part and parcel of Krishna, but how often do we realize this when we are doing our activities? If I'm doing any activity, is it doing for my gratification or for Krishna's pleasure? That's what you have to check. And that's how you will know your realization, how deep are you getting into your bhakti. Now Lakshmi also refer him as a supreme husband. Supreme husband means he is the ultimate protector and maintainer. All properties rest under his shelter. Lakshmi is never independent of him. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Shlok 55:29, the nectar verse, he says, Bhoktaram yaktapsam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhirde sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim archit. I am the supreme enjoyer. That's the word and crux of this verse is. And here Lakshmi is establishing this, that the wealth and prosperity are subordinate to devotion, and that the Lord alone is worthy of worship. Her prayer instructs the conditioned souls that real fortune is loving service to the Supreme Lord, not the possession of material wealth. Material husbandship is temporary, you know that. But the Lord's position as husband is eternal and absolute. So that's what we are aiming for. That's why Krishna is known as Pati, husband. Husband is the controller and eternal. So this husband is not in material sense, it is in ontological sense that Krishna is our husband, is a maintainer and or is an absolute truth. Then Lakshmi glorify him, Lord, as the supreme shelter. He is Ashray, this is the Ashray Tattva of the Lord. That means take shelter of his lotus feet, establish Lord as the ultimate refuge and support of all existence. Again, controller, maintainer, they are the same thing, but it is just an expansion. The more you hear these words, the more you grasp. Some people can accept easily the Ashray Tattva, some people don't, some people they husband Tattva. So there are different varieties to accept it. So this is another aspect. So Bhagavad Gita confirms this with the famous verse, with the surrender verse. We all know Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarvadharam paritajya mam ekam sharanam vraj. Aham tvam sarve papebhyo moksheshyami ma shucha. That is surrender unto me alone. That's the crux of this passages. Now, here surrender means what? You must be thinking, I'm giving so much time to Krishna, I'm doing service to Krishna. This is surrender, isn't it? But not really, it is a kind of a surrender. Surrender, Krishna is looking what you are holding on to. What you have so much capacity, but you're still holding on to, that's the surrender he is looking for. You remember in Krishna Leela, famous Krishna Leela of stealing the gopis' dress at the Yamuna Tat. And some people, when they hear it, they think, what kind of God is this? He's stealing the stuff and he's a lusty person. So this feeling comes, but there is a deeper meaning to it. Krishna want to teach to this Leela to us. You know, women, the chastity of a woman is the most valuable gift and asset for her. And through this Leela, Krishna is showing that, hey, you have to give up your most valuable thing to me if you want to come to me, if you want to surrender to me. So that is the hardest part to do, to give your most valuable gift to Krishna. We do all services, we do everything, but that's their little bit of surrender, but not to the extent Krishna is expecting. One surrender is everything you have, just give it to me. Look at Prabhupada. He went to America with nothing in mind, with just $10. That is the surrender. He's completely dependent on Krishna. That is, but that doesn't mean you just give up everything and then say, okay, now Krishna, I'm yours. You maintain me. But you should have some agenda how you're going to do it. Krishna, Prabhupada always depended on Krishna, but he never expected that it will turn out to be like that. He still has something in mind if it doesn't work, I will go back. So that's why he was coming back to the yard to find out when is the return ship. So that is there. So that's what the surrender we are looking for. And Krishna helped that, showed that surrender, that how he protects it in Draupadi case. In Draupadi, he completely protected Draupadi chastity by supplying unlimited supply of saris. So that's how Krishna is. So now, while reading this verse, a few questions comes in my mind, and I try to answer these questions. So one question that I thought is that if Lakshmi Devi already possesses all the fortune, why does she glorify the Supreme Lord? Because in material world, we think if we have opulence, I don't need anything. I'm the boss here. I can do anything, everything I want. So this is kind of conflicting with the current world. So I thought the answer could be, but if you have more better answer, you can correct me. Lakshmi Devi doesn't seek enjoyment or opulences, but she seeks service. That's what I got from this reading this verse. Although she controls all wealth, she knows that real fortune is in devotion to Krishna Narayan or Krishna or Lord. So by glorifying the Lord, she teaches the conditioned soul that wealth has only value when connected to Krishna. Without him, Lakshmi becomes temporary and anxiety producing. That's very true. That Lakshmi doesn't stay long more than means long if you don't have Krishna or Lord Vishnu in your home along with Lakshmi. So if you want, you try to get the Lakshmi without the master, that's not possible, isn't it? That's my thinking. That's why, even though she has all the possessed wealth, and she's still glorifying because she understood he is the supreme enjoyer, he is the supreme controller. And when we have that understanding, we will be also giving our all wealth, everything all surrendered to Krishna when we have that kind of realization. So that's one thing. Another question that come to my mind was that why do people worship Lakshmi for one money instead of worshipping Narayana or Lord Vishnu like Lakshmi herself does? Because she's getting thing because of Narayana. So why to go to Lakshmi? Why not go to Narayana? Why not go? Why not people? Many people come to Lion Lord Vishnu. Very simple reason. Because Lord Vishnu wants complete surrender. And that's what people are scared of, surrendering to Lord Vishnu. That's why they go for Lakshmi. They says, yeah, I can go to Lakshmi. She can give me the gifts without the master. So that's the reason most people worship Lakshmi rather than approaching Krishna, the Lord, the enjoyer, the controller, the giver, everything of everything. So, so Prabhupada also explained that Lakshmi never stays where Krishna is not honored, or Narayan is not honored, or Vishnu is not honored. So such worship ultimately results in frustration. Wanting Lakshmi without Narayana is the root of material anxiety. And in practical life, how do we know whether our wealth and desire are connected to Krishna? How do we know if my wealth and desire are connected to Krishna? Very valid question. So now Prabhupada gives a simple test. He says, if it increases our humility, does it increase our service attitude? Does it increase the remembrance of Krishna? If wealth and desire increase ego, entitlement, or forgetfulness, they are disconnected from Krishna. So this is a test you can always do with your thinking, with your Krishna consciousness. And whatever brings me closer to Krishna is spiritual. That's what I have to say for this class today. That's much. So this with this I finish my class. That's how you can do a test on your where your wealth and is connected to Krishna or not. How humble you became, how service attitude you are developing, and is the remembrance of Krishna continuous? If I'm remembering, if I'm forgetting Krishna, or is it increasing my ego or entitlement? I'm still looking for entitlement from some degradation around, and I'm forgetful of Krishna's supremacy. So that's how you can test your wealth and desire. Are they connected to Krishna or not? And with this beautiful verse of offered by Lakshmi Devi, I'll just read the translation again because it's so cleansing and to glorify Lord as we can. And Prabhupada mentioned that if we can learn these mantras and if we can offer to Krishna, he loves to hear it. Because we are not qualified enough to write such an extent, we won't be able to think of. So it's better to repeat these words. Let's get some more purification by reading this verse again. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shikesha, the controller of all my senses and the origin of everything. As the Supreme Master of all bodily, mental, and intellectual activities, he is the only enjoyer of their results. The five sense objects and 11 senses, including the mind, are his partial manifestation. He supplies all the necessities of life, which are his energy and thus non different from him. And he is the cause of everyone's bodily and mental pros, which is also non different from him. Indeed, he is the husband and provider of necessities of all living entities. The purpose of all the Vedas is to worship him. Therefore, let us all offer him our respectful obeisances. May he always be favorable toward us in this life and the next. So we want his presence not only just in this life, but also in the next life. So here we see all the things are Lakshmi is referring is related with the body, senses, and everything because he's referring to his worshipping Lord Pradyuman. And this is the starting verse. She will continue to offer prayer for another 6 verses until 29. So we will see how she develops her prayer aptitude for that. Like, and then that's why here she is giving the references of our senses because Pradyuman is the Lord of mind and mind controls the senses. That's why it's saying, I surrender my mind to Krishna's lotus feet. So once I surrender that, that means my senses are under perfect control and they won't go haywire. They always think of Krishna, never forget Krishna. And not only this life, we will continue, as Prabhupada say, we will continue in the next life, next birth, wherever we are. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatanashta dridvarta namastasya che mam bhaktaya nitya yukta upasyate. Very beautiful verse. Always chanting my glories, endeavor with great determination, bowing down before me, the great soul perpetually worship me with devotion. So you have to do the thing with devotion. You just don't come, bow down, go. No, it has to be devotion. Devotion means you are thinking of Krishna when you are going down. You are thinking of Krishna when you're standing in front of Krishna. This is what the devotion is. And you have to do with determination. That means I have to do it at least once a day or once a week. I come here to see Krishna. This kind of determination you need. And you have to bow down. That's a very important thing. Bow down, humble us. So that's why it says. And then these property, when these activities you develop, the worship will flow through you and you will show through your activity to others and others will follow your footsteps. So that's all I have to say for today's class on this beautiful verse 18 of the chapter 18. Thank you. Now it's open for discussion. Anyone has any question or comments or corrections? Any experience, realization? Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that attitude we have to develop that I'm not the controller, it's just a service. And it takes few realization to reach to that level, to accept is as a service because our ego, because gunas are working within us, which push us here and there, and we are unable to give up that control. We might feel all good within the temple, but as soon as we go out of this Vaikuntha love, because Prabhupada said these all temples are Vaikunthas, so as soon as we go away from here, the Dham, we still the material energies try to attack us and we easily get in its grip. So yeah, that's the time when we have to remember where is Krishna in this creation, within the creation. That's when we have to hold on to that. And if we can do that, then material energy won't sway you away from your remembrance of Krishna. So that's my thing. It's Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any question if online or not?
There's no questions online. I just had a question regarding the varshas. So the different varshas are there, and there's different personalities that are worshipping different aspects of the Lord. So is that in the earthly plane, is it? Or it's not in the earthly plane?
No, this is Bhumandal is the Atruti. This whole Bhumandal is Atruti, which is 7 planets. Like Jambudvip is the inner island, which is surrounded by the sea ocean. Then we have another island surrounded by sugarcane, ghee, and all these things. These are all under the earthly planet. And within that earthly planet, we have a Jambudvip. And this Jambudvip is the central island. And Earth is part of that bush. And there are other 8 versions. These are higher realms. Means they have these people live there have higher consciousness. As we read in the chapter previously, that the trees and everything is very auspicious, very conscious there. That's why they can even the sand when the moon the dew falls on the sand, it turns into gold. And here on earth, we have to dig down into the earth to get the gold. So that's how the mother earth accumulates these toxins, these opulences, if your consciousness is not mature enough. We have so much aesthetic, means we have so much things bad going on earth. That's why earth is trying to conceive all this breath. There is in heartland, these opulences are just flowing like that. They don't have to do much effort. They just do this. So these regions are there. Yeah, they are.
So it's because why I asked the question is because the it almost describes like Vaikuntha planets, you know, like all these living entities like Prahlad Maharaj worshipping Narasimhadev. It almost describes like the Vaikuntha planets where you've got different, you know, expansions of the Lord.
Yes, they are kind of Vaikuntha, but they are not in the Vaikuntha because they are still in the material world. In the material bubble, they will be destroyed with the day of the Brahma or with all. They won't stay for. So these are representing their Harivarsha and all these regions. So they are not real Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is eternal. They have activity like eternal, but sometimes they also forget. That's why they are praying that we should not forget. We are always forgetful in our region, but they forget sometimes. So that's why they are praying that we should not do that. So that's the difference. One difference. They are still in Vaikuntha because they have pious activity, but that's why they are serving their karmas there. They don't accumulate any karma in these regions. That's another thing mentioned previously in the chapters. In earth, we accumulate our karmas. That's the thing. And the other thing is that in these verses, Lord doesn't come as an incarnation. Here on earth, he comes as an incarnation that Krishna came and performed his Leela. That's why Brahma and all these people, they want to take birth here so that they can touch the dust. That's the reason. They don't want to go, I want to go to Harivarsha. No. I want to go to Ilavata. No, they don't say that. They say in Bhagavatam, they want to come to the earthly planet because here Krishna himself comes and performs his Leela. So this dust is much worse than the Vaikuntha, they say. Even though with the Kali Yuga and all those things, it gets polluted and everything. But this is it's actually covered, not polluted. It's covered because of our vision. It's still the pious as it is. If as pure devotee can, Prabhupada can see that. We couldn't see because we are blinded with this kind of things. We need still need purification. So that's of this answers. So they are not Vaikuntha, they are like Vaikuntha. They appear to us.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jagannath Kripa Sindhu Dharisya Patitana Pamejo Vaishnave Namo Namah Ganpati Vaishnave Ki Jai. Prabhupada ki Jai.